Many people talk about new hype coins, but hardly anyone looks at altcoins that already have real utility. Coin delivers 83.1% in my data-driven analysis, yet still hardly anyone talks about it. In this video, I'll show you why Dash is becoming interesting again right now. Welcome to 10x Crypto, your channel for honest, data-driven altcoin analysis. By the way, if you don't have a crypto exchange yet, check out my favorite crypto exchange. It's straightforward, it's secure, and it's based in Switzerland with a reputable background. And if you sign up using my link, you'll even get a bonus. That's 50 euros in Bitcoin. And you start right away with Silver rank, which means you get instant cashback. You can find all the information in the pinned comment, just use my link. Dash is a cryptocurrency that originally started as a fork of Bitcoin. But Dash works differently. Dash uses two layers in its network. The first layer essentially secures the system, and the second layer ensures that payments can be confirmed more quickly. For you, this means transactions are almost instant, but they only cost a tiny fee. This makes Dash especially suitable for purchases, transfers, and everyday payments. And the most important question with Dash is, what problem does this coin actually solve? Bitcoin is secure but often slow, and many blockchains can't be used anonymously. But Dash was developed specifically to fill this gap. Dash enables fast payments within just a few seconds. And optionally, the user can decide for themselves whether to make their payment publicly visible or not. In other words, whether they want more privacy. This way, Dash solves a problem that is especially relevant in everyday life. People can pay quickly, cheaply, and flexibly, whether at the checkout, online, or across borders. The next point is especially important with Dash. So what actually makes this coin different from other altcoins? Dash operates with so-called masternodes. These are servers in the network that take on specific tasks. They ensure that transactions are confirmed instantly. And at the same time, they essentially handle the voting within the system. This is a form of decentralized organization, meaning the community more or less decides together which projects get funded and how the network is further developed. This combination of fast payments and optional privacy, along with its own self-funded organization, makes Dash one of the oldest and most stable payment coins on the market. Before we get started together, just relax for a moment. Grab a coffee and leave a like for me. And if you want to discover interesting altcoin gems early, then check out the 10x Elite. There, on the one hand, you get insight into my personal crypto portfolio, so you can see exactly which projects I'm actually invested in. Then you get access to the 10x ranking list. I've rated over 100 altcoins there as a percentage, all in one ranking. Then you can also use the 10 times indicator. You already know that one. From my videos, and in addition in the 10 times Elite, for example, I also provide market updates, but also information about my own trades. On top of that, there's the 10 times Gem Radar, where I showcase exciting low-cap altcoins early on before they reach the mainstream. So if you want to move away from speculation and chance and prefer to rely on data, structure, and strategy, then 10x Elite is the next logical step for you. And right now, you can still get a 30% discount on your first month with the code 10x. You'll find all the information in the video description right at the very first link. But attention, a disclaimer. My channel is not financial advice, but purely for informational purposes. Let's move on to the market cap. Here, they're in a good position because the market cap isn't that high yet, but at the same time, they're attractive to investors. So here, a solid 7. Next, the circulating supply. Many new projects in the end only have a small portion of their tokens in circulation. Of course, this leads to uncertainty, because large amounts can be unlocked at any time. But with Dash, it's different. 2/3 of the coins are already on the market. That naturally creates trust and, let's say, prevents big surprises. That's why here, a solid 8. Now let's move on to the roadmap. If you look at the projects, you can usually tell pretty quickly which ones just make promises as developers and which ones actually deliver. With Dash, it looks like they're among those who deliver and have been doing so for years. The company has consistently completed its updates, and the ongoing development of Dash evolution and new privacy features shows that this project isn't standing still, but is continuously evolving. A strong 8 in this area. Now let's move on to the team. A strong team is like the foundation of a house. Without a team, there's no progress, obviously. Dash has an experienced core team, which is of course important, and is also funded by its own DAO. So the community also votes on how the project is further developed, which is of course extremely good. That creates stability, that builds trust, and naturally reduces risk. Because of course, not a single person controls everything. A strong 8. Next point, the narrative. Coins always need a clear image. A simple story that everyone immediately understands. That's basically a narrative. And Dash has that story. Digital payments, fast, cheap, and above all, private. While many projects have complicated visions, Dash is ultimately easy to understand. And that's exactly what strengthens the narrative in the long term and makes Dash an exciting altcoin. Strength 8 in this area. Then what problem does Dash solve? The strongest argument for Dash is the problem it solves. As mentioned, Bitcoin is secure but often slow and expensive. And Dash was ultimately built to address exactly this weakness. In the end, payments are significantly faster and the fees are low. And as mentioned, if needed, you get more privacy, which is of course a strong point. This is a tangible problem they are solving with a clear vision and a clear solution in this area. A strong 9. That's why. Now let's move on to the topic of sustainability and energy. Dash uses a more efficient system than Bitcoin. The energy consumption is significantly lower and many masternodes already run largely on renewable energy. It's not perfect, but better than most traditional proof-of-work coins. A solid 7 here. That's why. Investors and capital. Dash doesn't have traditional venture capital backing, nor any investor who could dump massive amounts. Instead, it finances itself through its own kind of treasury system. This keeps it independent, of course, and still allows it to grow in the end, which is extremely positive. A strong 9 here. Now let's move on to the competition. This is where things get interesting again. Dash is not alone. It competes with Monero, Zcash, and other privacy coins. And this is where it gets interesting because Dash is faster than both and is used more often in the real world. By the way, if you want to see comparisons with other analyses, check out the playlist called The 10 Times Universe. I've already analyzed a ton of altcoins, which will definitely be interesting for you. And next weekend, I've analyzed 2 more altcoins. Subscribe to the channel and activate the bell. Let's move on to the next point in marketing. They have an active campaign, active community hubs run by influencers, and also real use cases, making the project visible. A solid 7 here. How simple is the idea, actually? Many altcoins are complicated, but Dash is simple, and that's exactly its advantage. Simply put, it's like Bitcoin, only faster and cheaper. This clarity naturally attracts users, especially with the privacy feature, where digital payments are truly needed. A strong 9. So, what about the long-term vision? Dash wants to be more than just a payment network. With evolution, new features are ultimately created that significantly expand the ecosystem. Dash is working on features that will keep the coin stable and modern in the long term. A strong 8 in this area. So what about the tokenomics? Dash has a limited supply. That naturally gives the coin a scarcity, which is extremely important. The emission decreases slightly every year. This creates a sense of value development and long-term predictability. A strong 8 in this area. So what about the FDV? Many coins are highly overvalued, but that's not the case with Dash. The ratio of maximum supply to current market value is very healthy. And ultimately, that speaks for stability and little risk of dilution. A strong 9 in this area. So what about the volume, meaning the liquidity? That's actually an important sign of interest. Dash has an above average strong trading volume. This means the market is actively engaging with the coin. There is good liquidity, but no extreme price jumps, just solid growth. Here, a good and strong 9. Next, Vivaldi token distribution and whether there are lockup periods. Dash is one of the older coins. There are no huge unlocks, no hidden team vesting plans. This makes Dash predictable and prevents sudden sell-offs. So, a strong 8 in this area. Next, let's move on to the top coin holders. A healthy distribution is important for stability. With Dash, the large wallets control only a small portion of the coins. That's a good sign for decentralization and of course security as well. A strong 8 here. Next, what about its utility? Dash has real everyday utility, instant payments, low fees, optional privacy, plus governance through the master nodes. This makes Dash, of course, one of the few altcoins that are actually used and not just based on speculation. A strong 8. Now let's move on to the community. The community is large, active, and stable. Dash has users, masternodes, and its own development team. So a development team. And by the way, if you also hold Dash yourself or are a fan of Dash, feel free to leave a comment. #Dash. Here, a strong 8. What events are coming up in the next 6 months? Dash has clear event milestones, new features, updates, and the ongoing development of evolution. Of course, that ensures regular attention. That also boosts long-term growth. A strong 8? Today you saw how Dash performed on my 20 metrics and why this altcoin can do it. It's still relevant for 2026 as well. On my Zenix ranking list, it reaches 83.1%. That's an extremely strong score for an altcoin that's been on the market for over 10 years but still plays a clear technical role. Dash is especially convincing. In terms of speed, real everyday use, real problem solving in the digital payments sector, and of course its privacy. Many altcoins promise a lot, but Dash delivers a lot. Now, as always, let's move on to the 3 scenarios. An important part of the altcoin analysis, of course, but not the most important. Still, let's go through them so you have a complete picture. First, as always, let's start with the bear scenario. Imagine the market turns, regulations become stricter, privacy coins come under pressure, and many investors withdraw their capital. In such an environment, Dash would of course not grow. Here, theoretically and mathematically, $45 might be possible. Let's move on to the normal scenario. Here it's more about healthy growth, a much more modern outlook. Imagine the market grows slowly and crypto continues to gain traction. Dash remains a reliable payment coin with real, everyday utility. In such a normal market environment, Dash could head towards $120. Now let's move on to the optimistic scenario. Here we're going to change the story a little bit. Imagine digital payments become increasingly important worldwide. Dash naturally benefits from its fast transactions, ease of use, and privacy. More and more people are using Dash for both small and large payments. Demand is rising. In such an optimistic environment, Dash could grow to around $350, driven by adoption, greater visibility, and the global market. Now let's move on to the next scenario. Here we're looking at a scenario that happens less often but can't be ruled out. This is a very optimistic scenario. Imagine cryptocurrencies being used worldwide, digital payments are the standard, and systems that are fast and cheap are preferred. Dash gets integrated into apps, wallets, payment service providers, and also in countries with weak currencies. That would of course be a massive booster. In such an optimistic scenario, Dash could really reach up to $1,200. That's rare but possible if the conditions are right and the global market takes off. Now let's move on to the Vision 2030, the long-term perspective. Let's look far ahead. Not just 1 or 2 years, but 2030. Imagine a world where people use digital currencies in everyday life, not as speculation, but as a means of payment. Here, Dash could of course play a central role, as a fast, inexpensive, and globally available cryptocurrency. If this vision becomes reality, Dash could rise toward $1,500. That's not guaranteed, but it could be part of the global future. But now let's move on to the chart analysis and take a look at where Dash currently stands. Right now, when would I get in? What options are there? Let's take a look at all of this. Hello and welcome to my chart analysis of Dash. By the way, I use TradingView and I've developed my own indicator. What does the current situation look like for Dash? As we've seen here, this was December 2024. Here we had a top and here was really a bottom. My indicator actually shows 2 things. A big green dot always means we're entering an oversold zone, so it's a good point, maybe for me, to see if I should get in now. And red means overbought, so there's a huge hype, we're overbought. And now of course there's a good chance that things will go further down. For me, it's more of a sign, okay, now I should think about whether to take profit here or exit completely. But what does it look like for Dash at the moment? Down here we had a small green dot. That means we had a bullish trend reversal here. It then shot up massively. After that by almost 700%, so really massive. But up here we had a big red dot. That means, of course, we were clearly overbought and then went down as well. What does it look like right now? We've formed a small green dot again. This means we're once again in a bullish trend reversal, so things don't actually look too bad for Dash at the moment. If you want to use the indicator yourself or get news about, for example, when I enter altcoins, then check out the 10x Elite. You can find all the information directly in the video description. The first link, there you'll also get access to the 10x indicator as long as you're a member. Before you go, I recommend you check out this altcoin analysis. This altcoin even surprised me. And why is that? Find out in the analysis. Enjoy the next video, thanks for watching and see you soon.